April 22nd, 2016, Pike County, Ohio. It's the kind of rural American landscape where gravel roads connect tight-knit communities and neighbors mind their own business. But as the sun rose that Friday morning, the silence of the Appalachian foothills was shattered by a frantic 911 call. Then another, and another. By the time the sun set, the horrific scope of the nightmare became clear. This wasn't a robbery gone wrong. This wasn't a random act of violence. 8 people were dead, all from the same family, all executed in their sleep across 4 different locations in a single night. It was the largest homicide investigation in Ohio's history. For years, it looked like the perfect crime. But what investigators discovered beneath the surface wasn't a drug deal gone bad or a cartel hit. It was something far more sinister, personal, and chillingly calculated. The horror started at 7:49 a.m. A woman named Bobby Jo Manley walked into her brother-in-law's trailer on Union Hill Road to feed the pets. What she found inside defied comprehension. Christopher Roden Sr. and his cousin, Gary Roden, were dead, shot multiple times. Panic set in. Bobby Jo ran down the road to her nephew's trailer, Christopher's son, Frankie Roden. She found Frankie and his fiancée, Hannah Gilley, dead in their bed. Incredibly, their 6-month-old and 3-year-old children were in the trailer, alive and unharmed, surrounded by the carnage of their parents. The 911 lines lit up. Police swarmed Union Hill Road, but the dominoes hadn't finished falling. A mile away, Dana Manley Roden, Christopher Sr.'s ex-wife, was found shot dead in her trailer, along with her 2 younger children, 19-year-old Hannah and 16-year-old Chris Jr. And just like at Frankie's house, there was another miracle amidst the horror. Hannah Roden's 5-day-old newborn baby was found lying next to her mother's body, spared by the killer. Later that day, an 8th victim, Kenneth Roden, Christopher Sr.'s brother, was discovered miles away in his own camper. 8 victims, 7 adults, 1 16-year-old boy, shot a total of 32 times. Pike County went into lockdown. The sheer brutality suggested professional killers. Who wanted the entire Roden clan wiped off the face of the earth? The crime scenes were baffling. There were no signs of forced entry. The dogs hadn't barked. The killers had moved like ghosts in the night, methodically traveling between 4 separate residences, executing their targets while sparing the infants. The initial theories were wild. The Rodens were known to be involved in small-scale marijuana grow operations. Immediately, the media and the rumor mill jumped to Mexican cartels. It felt like something out of Breaking Bad. Investigators fanned out, conducting hundreds of interviews and following thousands of tips. The pressure was immense. For 2 years, the case seemed cold. The cartel theory didn't stick. Cartels don't typically bother with elaborate multi-location hits in rural Ohio over small-time weed grows. This was personal. This was hatred. And as investigators peeled back the layers of the Roden family's life, they realized the motive wasn't drugs or money. The motive was a little girl. Investigators zeroed in on a connection. 19-year-old victim Hannah Roden had an older daughter, little Sophia. The father of that child was a man named Jake Wagner. Jake and Hannah had a volatile relationship that ended badly. A bitter custody battle was brewing, and Jake came from a very intense family, the Wagners, Billy, the patriarch, Angela, the matriarch, and their 2 adult sons, George and Jake. They were a clannish, isolated family unit that did absolutely everything together, and they were obsessed with control. When investigators started looking at the Wagners, the behavior was bizarre. Shortly after the murders, this entire family of 4 packed up and moved to Alaska. It looked like a getaway, but police were patient. They bugged the Wagners' trucks, they watched them, and they waited for a crack in the armor. The breakthrough finally came in 2018. The evidence painted a picture of premeditation so extreme it bordered on insanity. This wasn't a sudden fit of rage. The Wagners had planned the annihilation of the Roden family for months. They feared Hannah Roden wouldn't give them full control of Sophia. They also feared that if they only killed Hannah, the rest of the tight-knit Roden clan would come for the child. So, the Wagner family logic was simple, brutal, and absolute. To secure the child, they had to erase everyone who loved her. Angela Wagner, the grandmother, was the architect. She bought shoes from Walmart just for the murders, taping the soles to avoid leaving distinct footprints, then burning them afterward. Billy and his sons, Jake and George, spent months building homemade silencers for their weapons, using flashlights and parts ordered off the internet. They scouted the Roden properties, learning their schedules, their habits, and the layouts of their homes. They even had a family meeting where they voted on whether to commit mass murder. The vote was unanimous. On the night of April 21st, the three Wagner men loaded into a truck they had bought solely for this purpose. Angela stayed home to watch the kids, the alibi. They moved methodically through the dark. Jake Wagner, the father of Hannah's child, admitted to being the one who pulled the trigger on Hannah. He shot the mother of his own daughter while she lay in bed next to their newborn infant. They didn't just kill them, they ensured they were dead, administering insurance shots to the victims. They bypassed the security cameras. They picked up their brass shell casings. They slaughtered 8 people in 4 locations and vanished into the night without leaving a single fingerprint or DNA match behind. It was almost a perfect crime. Almost. The Wagners' tight family bond was eventually their undoing. The pressure of the investigation, the wiretaps, and the relentless pursuit by the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation finally broke them. In a shocking turn, Jake Wagner, the one who killed Hannah, pleaded guilty to avoid the death penalty. He agreed to testify against his own family. His mother Angela soon followed with her own plea deal. George Wagner IV went to trial, trying to claim he was just along for the ride, but the jury didn't buy it. He was convicted on all counts. And finally, the patriarch, Billy Wagner, is facing his own day in court. The Pike County massacre goes down as one of the darkest chapters in true crime history. 8 lives were ended not for money or drugs, but because one family decided their desire for control was worth more than an entire generation of another family. 8 people are gone. 4 members of another family are behind bars for life. And a community is left scarred forever by the night the Wagners decided to take everything.